Hi everyone! Today I'm going to scrapbook a couple of photos. These photos were taken by me and my boyfriend when we were out on the lake. We had decided to do some vacationing in Vermont last summer, and it's beautiful up there if you've never been. I would highly recommend it if you want to get away from the hustle and bustle of everyday life. So, one of our activities we decided to do one afternoon was to go kayaking out on the lake, and I had a great time. The weather was beautiful, the sun was shining, and I managed to get photos of us without dropping my phone in the water, so that is a win. I'm using these frames to frame the photo. I think I've been using a lot of frames lately, but I've truly been enjoying them because it really allows me to use different size photos on my pages. These frames originally were nesting in one another, so my photo of my boyfriend is a little bit bigger than the photo of me. I glued the frames down, and then I take my pair of scissors to just trim off the excess. I chose to use the yellow cardstock as my background because I really liked how bright the sun was, and I really wanted to capture that in my page. I've also decided to use this orange sheet, which is just another nice color to layer on top of the cardstock. I'm cutting down this orange triangle pattern sheet of paper to be 4 inches wide and 11 inches long. I wanted to use this vertically, and I wanted to have a equal space between the bottom of the page to where the pattern paper ends and the top of the page to where the pattern paper starts. I'm currently laying out my page with the expectation I was going to use this really pretty Vermont die cut I had gotten at a scrapbooking store up in Vermont. They had tons of different designs, and I really wanted to incorporate this onto the page because we were in Vermont and it was a good chance to use this yellow die cut. But I'm going to be fiddling around with this a little bit longer and then decide that I didn't want to use it because I wanted the title to relate to our activity, which was kayaking, and I eventually realized that I didn't really have room for this Vermont die cut. I did just round off the corners for that orange pattern sheet of paper. I used the 1/4 inch size on my crocodile corner chomper because my frames were actually rounded in their corners as well. I wanted it to match. I pulled my teal colored thickers to do my titling, which is kayaking. And at this point, I've actually used a lot of the letters in this package of thickers. So I am trying to actually create my own letters from the existing ones that I have left. In this instance, I've actually used 2 Q's to make my A's. I just cut off the loop on the bottom, and hopefully you could not tell if I didn't tell you. So that's something you can consider if you're out of letters in your thicker packs or letter stickers. You can try to see what you have left over and what would work to manipulate into the letter you need. I think I also was out of I's, so I cut off the loop at the bottom of a J, and I also was out of N's, so I just flipped a U over and just cut off a snip of the tail so that it looked more like an N instead of an elongated N. And that's how I get away with not having enough letters. I'm adding a journaling card for my journaling spot, and it also starts helping me designate areas for my embellishment clusters. I think it was at this time I realized I didn't want to use the Vermont die cut, and I will be saving that for another layout in the future. I start by adding some washi tape to identify the 3 areas that I am going to create embellishment clusters around. And like I mentioned earlier, I'm going to put one right by my journaling. And then I decided I was going to put one in the upper left-hand corner of my top photo. And then my last spot right next to my title on the left. Sifting through my supplies, I realized I had some flare buttons that I could use, and I thought that would be a great addition to the page. One of them said, "Go, see, and do." Very applicable for our activity. And then there was another one I liked that was "Hello Week," since we spent a week in Vermont. And then the other one's a plain one with some striped, multicolored pattern. I also pulled out some of those Dear Lizzie flags that I had made in my previous DIY embellishment video. I will link that down below in the description if you're interested in seeing how I made them. And I picked out ones that had really good sentiments. The top one I ended up putting there says "Big Adventures." The bottom one I ended up picking one that says "Cool Photos." And then I had one that said "Tuesday" right on top, but when I was gluing that down, I wasn't confident that it was a Tuesday we went kayaking. I decided that if it wasn't Tuesday, I would just go and take it off and put on a different day, since I was using washi tape for that piece of the flag. Now I knew where I wanted my flags to go. I'm gluing them down. The bottom right one, I wanted to make sure I did not cover up too much of my journaling card, so I had enough room to write. For the flag up top, I didn't want it to be on the right side of the toothpick, so I decided to flip it over and have it facing left. And what was great was that I had actually stamped the same sentiment on the back, so you can still read "Big Adventures." And then for the middle one, I had it facing right towards my title so that you would read my title. I'm pulling out some chipboard stickers to add just a little more texture to the page. First, I put "Beautiful" sticker up in the top left-hand corner of my top photo. And then I pick out "I Love This Life" to put above my journaling. And right in the middle of my page, above my title, I put one that says "Picture Perfect." I pulled out some enamel dots to decorate the 3 areas. I just used one enamel dot in each embellishment cluster, so I picked out this big teal one. I felt like something was missing in that middle cluster of embellishments, so I added this little camera icon and that has "Say Cheese" in the middle of it. Now onto my journaling. I wrote that my boyfriend's parents had kayaks by the lake, so we took them out one beautiful day and slowly went around the lake, and the scenes were breathtaking. I went and grabbed my roller date stamp to stamp the date, and I picked out the sentiment "Enjoy Today." I also got really lucky because I did realize it was a Tuesday, so my little flag is gonna stay as is, and I don't have to fix or change anything. I decided to stamp my date twice next to my upper photo, and that's my page. So I hope you enjoyed this process video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them below, and I hope you have a crafty day.